Excuse me, I guess I'm a few seconds late this morning. I was trying to rearrange my Ganesha bolo tie, which is a which is a gift from my good friend Bob Patton. So we had a little technical trouble yesterday. Uh, I'd like to find out if we are still on. So if somebody would drop me a little note that say that tells me I'm on, I would appreciate that. Let's see. Are you safe from forest fires? Well, no, that's not it. Am I on yet? Oh, cool tie. Thank you, Judy. Anyway, today we're starting a new adventure. Uh, we're starting Ask Babylon. Now, this isn't one of my best-selling books, and it's uh, it's not from a big publisher. It's from New Falcon Publications, which was my first publisher, actually. Uh, but I just love this book, okay? It's technically called Ask Babylon, Answers to Questions of Life and Magic. And it's a series of letters. Oh, I'll read the introduction to you so you'll find out. But it's letters, doodles, because I've got my artwork in here too, my artwork, and verses, because I've got snippets of my poetry in it too, from the magical mind of Lon Milo DuQuette. And I thought you'd get a kick out of the table of contents, because that'll give us a little clue of what's coming up in the days and probably weeks ahead. Who is Babylon? Thelema, Aleister Crowley, AA, and OTO. These are all letters that people have written me in my answers back. OTO for a Freemason. Sex magic in the OTO. Monogamy and sexual ethics in the OTO. Marriage. Thelema and politics. Kenneth Elamite be a liberal. Angels, demons, and the Holy Guardian Angel. Real life and miscellaneous technical matters. Are angels real? Commanding the archangels? How do I redeem a demon? Where the hell did I go wrong? I ask that myself. I want to use demon sigils at the office. Shouldn't I be nice to the Goetic spirits? Is it wise to evoke angels or demons for financial help? What is the straightest path to the Holy Guardian Angel? Do I first need my HGA before beginning any magic work? Is the Holy Guardian Angel just me? Balancing family life and magic. Is magic harmful to children? The wand or the sword? I'm being magically attacked. Do banishing rituals really work? Nightmarish astral projections. Why isn't homosexuality talked about in sex magic? Monday night magic class. Religion and masonry. Prayer and Enochian magic. Magic and schizophrenia. The Qliphoth. Can I have a vasectomy and still be a sex magician? Where am I on the tree of life and reincarnation? So that's the back cover. Now, Constance painted let's see if I can get a better picture of it. Constance painted the cover. And if you can see right there, there is Babylon's turban. here is the cover with my first drawing, or first drawing in the thing. It's my do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. And Babylon as the serpent. And it starts with the dedication. This little collection of interviews and letters is dedicated to Phyllis Seckler, 1917 to 2004, the first magician to answer my letters. Remember, this was published in 2011, so we're 10 years when I put it together. And there's my first little drawing. Gee, I wish I could get a better... And my... Okay. And the little poem says, everything I say is untrue. Though true, I try to make it. As soon the word escapes my lips, would I had never spake it. Okay, and we've sort of gone through highlights of the... And I've got a long bunch of acknowledgments here. But I think I'm going to skip over that lengthy thing. And I hope you get the book and read the acknowledgments yourself. But I do have a disclaimer. Let it be understood that when writing as Baba Lon or Lon Milo DuQuette, I am voicing my opinions. In this little book, I'm not acting as a spokesperson or representative of any organization, magical or fraternal order, society, or church. My opinions are entirely my own and sometimes at odds with those of my colleagues and superiors for whom I have the utmost love and respect. I also confess that where I believe it be necessary, I've taken the liberty to edit the content of some of the letters to protect the privacy and identity of my correspondence. I have also, in certain instances, combined the text of 2 or more of my responsive letters which address similar or identical questions. And it begins with the invocation of the turban. And if you're familiar with my music, I turned this into the lyrics of my song, I'm Baba Lon. I am a man like any man, with feet of clay and cheeks of tan. But when I wrap my turban on, the gods are near. I'm Baba Lon. I eat too much, I drink too much, a greedy, selfish such and such. But when I wrap my turban on, my mind is clear. I'm Baba Lon. A lazy coward, vain and violent, chatter on when I should stay silent. But when I wrap my turban on, I have no fear. I'm Baba Lon. I'm mean and cruel like Genghis Khan, spend too much time with the TV on. But when I wrap my turban on, great truths appear. I'm Baba Lon. The introduction. Writing is a presumptuous profession. Do you actually believe I talk like this in everyday conversation? I don't. The moment my fingers start tapping away at the keyboard, falsehoods pour onto the page, and whatever pathetic glimpse of honest mental clarity I may temporarily possess are immediately smothered in crapulous affectations. There. See what I mean? Honest mental clarity, pathetic glints, crapulous affectations. Do you actually think I go around the house dropping phrases like that? Not bloody likely. It's all such a charade. And I hope you heard me lugubriously draw the word charade with an affected, proper, posh British accent, darling. But what can I do? I'm a writer. I'm never alone. There is always an unseen ear listening to my voice. And long as there is an audience, I'm going to play to it. It can't be avoided. And so it would be eminently fair for you to ask me, how can I play to an audience and still present a genuine Lon? A few years back, after having written a half-dozen books on magic and other such matters, I took it into my head to write a book on practical Kabbalah. It's a subject around which much controversy swirls. But because I'm a house and garden variety practical Kabbalist and not an orthodox speculative Kabbalist, I knew I was going to have to be especially careful to avoid treading on sensitive traditional toes. I was not looking forward to having to do so by applying yet another layer of pretense to my work. But then it occurred to me that I could step on all the toes I wanted if I wrote a book pseudepigraphically. Don't worry, I had to look it up too. It means I wrote the book pretending I was someone else. Stuff like that was done all the time in classical Jewish literature. I'd sit down and create an outrageous, very unorthodox rabbi who gave voice to my true and unsanitized views. With brash impunity, the rabbi could say all the things that might be too dangerous for me to say. Then, playing the role of occult author, Lon Milo DuQuette, mild-mannered, objective, and dispassionate observer, I could introduce the good rabbi's material to the world and offer my dispassionate and conservative comments. As two people, I would also have the opportunity to call myself a genius. My publisher bravely agreed to the idea, so I set to work. I had no idea it'd be such a liberating experience. Like a tongue-tied adolescent who becomes brash and eloquent when he dons a mask, or like the ventriloquist who lets his dummy vent his inmost feelings, I discovered another person inside myself. A person who was only too happy to tell me what I really thought about things. A person whose primary audience was me, a voice to speak to my ear. The book you're about to read was written by another one of those me's inside of me. I call him Baba Lon, for a number of reasons. The first and most important being, I like the sound of it. It's fun to push the words out of my mouth. Baba Lon. Secondly, it's obviously a play on the name Babylon, the great goddess of the magical and thelemic pantheon. In India, Baba means father, and is a term of endearment, usually applied to sadhus or other religious personages. As I grow older, I become more and more comfortable with the role of a Baba. I like the idea of being the avuncular and irascible character who answers letters with ruthless candor and writes profane and edgy notes and poems, the person who squiggles his own visage on books and greeting cards, the person who aims his thought person to person, one shot at a time, to anyone who for one reason or another feels the need to ask Baba Lon. Over the years, lots of people have taken the time to write and do just that. And probably more times than it was wise, Baba Lon has taken the time to answer. Early on, I started to save and file these exchanges. I guess in the back of my brain, I always thought that perhaps someday, when I'm in my dotage, I could organize them into a little book for the amusement and edification of magicians and students and teachers of magic. It finally occurred to me at the age of 62, exactly 10 years ago, that time better be now. What I didn't expect, however, was how much I would be amused and edified by the project. I can affirm without hesitation that in the course of organizing this material, this jaded old wizard has learned more about magic, mysticism, and myself than I ever dreamed was possible at this late season in my life. As you will soon discover, some of these letters I receive are much longer than my responses. This is because Baba Lon is at heart a lazy correspondent, and often preoccupied with other matters vital to keeping a roof over his head. But before you dismiss all of these brief replies as simply flippant retorts, please know that before I pop a letter in the mailbox or hit the send button, I often spend many hours distilling pages of my rambling initial responses into precisely what I believe is the most efficient answer. Finally, I want to remind the reader that the letters and interviews that comprise the text of Ask Baba Lon were written over a period of many years, and that I may or may not still completely agree with my answers of a decade or two ago. Indeed, I often find myself in the afternoon disagreeing with my morning's opinions. So while I hope my thoughts and magical opinions will be helpful to your own meditations and work, I want you always to remain mindful that everything I say is untrue. Though true, I try to make it. As soon the word escapes my lips, would I had never spake it. Baba Lon. Tomorrow we'll pick up with a chapter called Magazines, Ask Baba Lon. And just as a little preview, before we plunge into the esoteric madness of individual letters to and from Baba Lon, I thought the reader who might not already be familiar with my life and work might benefit from the following answers to some very generic questions posed over the years by magazine interviewers from around the world. I selected 3 such interviews for this section of the book and hope they will yield the maximum bang from your Ask Baba Lon buck. And I'll start tomorrow with an interview from a Russian magazine of many years ago. So I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll enjoy this series. Have a good weekend as as I've tried to keep secret, tomorrow will be my birthday. But even though it's my birthday, I'm going to join with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific time and continue reading Ask Baba Lon. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Goodbye.